4 weeks left, 5 weeks left. How many weeks left? I am slightly askew today because we're starting earlier than usual. Week 15, best bets. We each pick one. We each pick three, but we pick them one at a time. Nice save. Here we go. Week 16, 3 weeks left in the regular season. The joint Mega Picks podcast. Chris Simms Unbuttoned and PFT Live. Or PFT PM. Or PFT something. I don't know.
Well, what do you mean you don't know? It's your brand. What is it? What the hell are you deciding? Are we in the PM or is it live version? Let me hear.
Let me tell you something before we go any farther. I spent the last hour studying the Puka Nakua live stream that we discussed on PFT Live, and I lost IQ points.
Right. Damn.
Literally.
Right.
And I can't afford to lose any. And I lost some
so
over
you're
the
lower.
course of the last hour.
Damn, yeah. This is going to be a tough pod then. I'm talking to even a dumber person than usual. I don't know what to do here.
Is there a number lower than zero? We're about to find out.
F yourself too there, Florio. I saw that little scratch. Right. Okay. All right.
I had an itch. It's a reaction to the makeup. All right, so here we are for yet another week. And, I woke up on Sunday morning thinking that I was going to sweep you in our three disagreements. I was feeling good about the Bengals. I was feeling good about the Chiefs. I was feeling really good about the Steelers on Monday night. And you got the two Sunday games, and I avoided being swept when the Steelers did what they did to the Dolphins. I still can't believe you picked the Dolphins to win that game.
I don't know what I was doing either. You're right. I guess it was a little bit of like, let me see. The Dolphins are playing a little tougher and physical than people realize. Like I always tell you, I kind of always look at like, is there 2 or 3 games where I could see an upset happening? And that was just one that was at least on my radar. But let me just tell you, when Tua threw that interception, the 20-yard out route that he threw as hard and as far as he could, and it took 12 seconds to get there, I literally went, why would I have bet on Tua in the cold weather? What an idiot I am. I literally said that out loud in my family room as I was doing that. So, yeah, I knew it was over right at that point. I was like, oh, gosh, they can't throw it. He can't throw it. I'm screwed.
As soon as I saw the field, that look that a frozen field gets. Right? You can't miss it. You see it. The grass changes.
Right.
Everything. It's like as soon as I saw that,
green.
oh
right.
God,
yeah.
Steelers are going to win this game. They're going to win this game. And I can't remember who said it, but I did see a funny line about the Tua pick because it was intercepted by Asante Samuel Jr. They said the ball hung in the air so long Asante Samuel III could have intercepted it. So
that's really good.
That was the moment, that it's going to be a long night for the Dolphins, assuming the Steelers can score points, and they eventually found the gas pedal. They had like 4 straight touchdown drives, which they probably haven't done all year. They probably haven't done all decade, and the Steelers pull out the win. All right, but oh wow, you won 2 out of the 3 categories. I was 6-10 against the spread. Usually when I suck straight up, I still find a way to do better against the spread. But drum roll, please. After all this time in the category that Chris cares about the most, I'm ahead in best bets.
Yes,
you were
you
1
are.
and 2. And it's funny. You ask me on Sundays, hey, what were your best bets? And I never remember.
I don't
can
care.
Tell you who I picked in
let me
every
just tell you,
single game.
I really don't care about best bets. I really don't care. I think that's the response
exactly what I
got.
said in the makeup
room. Right.
That's exactly what I said. But you know what? Since I won,
you care
Since
now.
I won,
right?
I do care.
Yeah, right.
I do care.
I do.
But I got to catch you. I'm ahead in 2 of the 3 categories. I've got to catch you straight up.
I got to beat you in best bets. I got to do that.
Weeks.
That's what I got to do. I mean, I don't know what. I know I got off to a bad start in the year in best bets and regular picks, where I was way behind you to begin with. I battled back, and man, last week I was sitting there with my best bets, the Patriots being up 21-0 as underdogs. I was going, oh damn, it's a lock. I got this one. Boom. We knew the Houston Texans were going to beat the crap out of the Arizona Cardinals, and then at one point at about 5:45 in the afternoon on Sunday, I was going, Packers are up by 9. It's looking pretty good. They're going to beat the Broncos, and of course that got flipped on its head. So I took two tough ones there that hurt me last week.
Oh, and we talked about it on Monday. the moment that Josh Jacobs scored that touchdown and the Packers went up 9, it's like the Packers are going to win. And then when Micah Parsons suffered the non-contact knee injury that anyone would have guessed was a torn ACL, the air came out of the balloon for the Packers, and back came the Broncos, and that was that. Okay. Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms Pick'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Download that DraftKings app. Click on that Pools tab. Enter that Florio and Simms free $1,000 Pick'em pool to make your mother freaking picks.
Is that in the copy?
Yeah.
So there's no Thursday night football game in the pool. You have until Sunday. Wait. This week there's 2 Saturday games. So I assume it's still
Challenge
Sunday
flag.
at 1 o'clock. Because,
it's still Sunday. No
still
Sunday.
Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Right.
So ignore tonight's game. Ignore the 2 Saturday games. Sunday at 1 o'clock. 13 games in this week's pool. And this is the week where the NFL is allowed to play Saturday games again, from the second weekend in September to the second weekend in December. No Saturday games now. We're going to have Saturday games this week. We're going to have Saturday games next week. And we're going to have a Saturday game or 2 week 18.
Right.
It's a Saturday takeover. Really, there'll be Saturday games every weekend until the conference championship weekend, when there's no need for a Saturday game. Okay, so here we go. Thursday Night Football. The most important game of the year so far, but possibly more important games still to come. The Rams take on the Seahawks. Thursday Night Football, the last true Thursday night game of the year, because, there's a Thursday night game next week, but it's Christmas, so it really doesn't feel like Thursday. Christmas feels like its own day. This is the last true Thursday night game of the year. It is a huge one. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5, even though they lost to the Rams the last time around. Over under of 42.5. There is an 86% chance of rain with 18-mile-an-hour winds gusting up to 40. So factor that in. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think right off the bat, there's maybe 2 things that scare me, right? One, Davante Adams not playing for the Rams, or not being 100% or even close to that. I don't expect him to play. I'm picking this as he's not playing. You said earlier today when we were doing PFT Live, he's doubtful. Doubtful is kind of the new, he's out until he maybe can pull a miracle off, basically, in pregame, which I don't think is going to happen here in this situation. And you got to be careful with this. Davante Adams, a little older in age. Do you really want to test it 4 days after it happened and then maybe lose him going into the playoffs? That's what you'd be scared about. Then the other thing is you're worried about, can Sam Darnold actually play really good in a big spotlight type game that really, has a lot to do with the NFC playoff picture? Because every time we feel like he's played in those kind of games, it hasn't been good. Right? That's what you worry about in the matchup. Off of that, though, I'm going to say the Davante Adams thing is bigger to me, right? I sat here and I told you this a little earlier today. I always have faith that McVay and Stafford can kind of crack the code. The first time around, the Seahawks defense made life hard on the Rams. They didn't have much of their way in the run game or the pass game. So I kind of always go, they'll figure it out the second time around. Well, I don't know if they will here without Davante Adams. I got a hard time believing that the Rams, who I think their thing to do here, and they do this more than anybody in the NFL anyways, is play 3 tight ends, go 13 personnel, 1 back, 3 tight ends, 1 receiver. I just don't think that's the avenue to beat the Seattle Seahawks. If there's a problem with the Rams football team, it is depth at their receiver and some other positions. It's going to be Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. Right? And I think they'll more lean on Puka Nacua with the 3 tight ends, and I just feel like that plays right into Seattle's hands. Only 1 receiver to worry about. They got a really good secondary anyways, and then their front 7 is as big and powerful as anybody in the sport. I think this is a game Sam Darnold will probably be overly conservative. We're going to see plays where we're going to go, he should have thrown that, but he's going to be a little chicken because he's not going to want to turn the ball over. And then you add the weather to it, Mike. I'm going Seahawks, 23-20 in this one.
Well, we're on the same page. I put some more points on the board, although in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have because of the weather. I'm still sticking with 27-24. I don't think Davante Adams will play either. Doubtful usually is the clue. It will take a miracle for him to go. And this is another example, a very tangible reason why short week football is a problem. It doesn't matter that the injury rate is the same if you only have 3 days between games versus 6. That's the NFL's shield against criticism of short week football. The injury rate's the same. Well, right, but if they were playing this game on Sunday or Monday, greater chance that Davante Adams would be available. Short week with that hamstring aggravation because he had an existing hamstring injury heading into the game makes it harder, if not impossible, for him to be ready to go. And then you have this whole Puka thing. I expect that through the course of the day on Thursday, this will take on more steam. I'm expecting to hear from the league about it any minute now. I've been pestering them, and they said that there's going to be a statement. I just wonder how that affects Puka. I assume he'll try to compartmentalize it, but if he gets his ass reamed today by the team for the live stream stuff, it's a factor.
Yeah,
it's a factor that he's going to have to set aside,
Right,
and he's
right.
going to be the guy. There's no Davante Adams. And you throw in Sean McVay having another kid. They had issues with their plane. They didn't get in to Seattle until like 9 o'clock last night local time, hours after they were supposed to get there. There's just a lot of stuff. And the Davante injury, the lack of depth at receiver, the Seahawks understanding how badly they need this when Darnold trying to reverse the narrative about choking in big spots. And the Seahawks are just pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Hey, they avoided the trap against the Colts last week somehow. They knew this game was coming. We've all been looking toward this game for a long time. I think the Seahawks pull off the big win, and then the path is theirs to the 1 seed. And it comes down quite possibly to Week 18 when they go to San Francisco with the winner of that game. Just like, was it 2019? Seahawks 49ers in Seattle to end the season. That determined the 1 seed. The 49ers won, went to the Super Bowl. It could be the same thing, except at the place where the Super Bowl this year will be played in Levi's Stadium. 27-24, that's my pick. Seattle Seahawks, we agree on that one. Saturday, the afternoon game. There were 2 games that were earmarked for Saturday. The better one went to the evening. The lesser one went to the afternoon. Both have playoff implications because the Eagles' magic number is 1. They're 9-5. Commanders are 4-10. They're done. Jaden Daniels has been shut down. Marcus Mariota played for the Eagles as a backup in one of the recent years. Of course, that didn't work for Kenny Pickett last week. Former Eagles backup got completely shut down by the Eagles defense. Philly is favored by 6.5 with an over-under of 44.5. 89% of the spread money is on the Eagles. Are you?
Yeah, of course I am. I mean, I'm definitely on the Eagles. It's hard to get behind the Commanders. The Commanders won. The defense is still not very good, right? They have a defensive line that's not very good. That even though the Eagles have not been great at running the ball, I think they're going to try to push or test those limitations a little bit, knowing that this is a problem with the Commanders. I don't think it could set up any better, really, for the Philadelphia Eagles at a time where, hey, we're trying to get the offense going and getting a jump start and getting things like this. They basically got 2 practice games here. They played the Raiders last week, playing the Commanders this week. The Commanders feel like, hey, they put up a good effort last week, certainly against the Giants, but they know the season's over. Jaden Daniels, they called it quits from that standpoint. No more of him. And the disappointing thing with the Commanders, and something I kind of praised earlier in the year, and I know they lost Jaden Daniels, but the offense has just been all over the place. It hasn't really been very impressive other than the Bronco game where they moved the ball consistently. You look at that, yeah, it's been just a collection of plays here and there. They might make a few plays early on in this football game, but when it all said and done, the Eagles beat them down. I go 30-20 Philadelphia.
30-17 Philly for me, so we both have the Eagles and the cover. And Marcus Mariota has been serviceable in the time that he has replaced Jaden Daniels this year. They almost scored the huge upset over the Denver Broncos. This is a primetime standalone game. You know, you're playing for pride. You're trying to build some momentum going into the offseason. Even though the teams change so much from one year to the next, I think it's important to finish strong, play the role of spoiler if you can. I just don't think they're good enough.
Yeah,
and the Eagles
that's it.
have finally come out of their funk. What they did to the Raiders last week tells me they've gotten out of their funk. The Cowboys losing 2 in a row makes it easier for them down the stretch. They'll get the division title. They'll be
Yeah,
unless
there's
you're
no
the one
pressure
seed, it
on
doesn't
them right
matter.
now.
You win the
Right,
division
right.
and you're at home,
Yep.
and you just coast in and you just make your plans for the postseason, and they'll be in it. The question is, what do they do when they get there? For now, they don't have to worry about it. For now, they should get an easy win over the Commanders.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think that's real. I kind of wrote that in my notes too. Like, there's no pressure on them right now with the way things are going with the Cowboys, and then even like this in a team where, hey, even if they struggle early on, where last week it wasn't always pretty in certain moments, you just go, hey, we're in another class. It's only a matter of time before we outclass them, and the cream rises to the top, and that's kind of how I expect this one to shake out.
All right, Saturday night at 8:20 p.m. Eastern on Fox is the game of the day, one of the best games of the weekend. Getting together for the second time in 13 days, the oldest rivalry in football with significant playoff implications for both teams. The winner clinches if the Lions lose to the Steelers on Sunday. Packers 9-4-1, Bears 10-4. They keep flip-flopping first place in the division, and the other team is at the bottom of the playoff tree. Right now, the Packers are 7 on the playoff tree, while the Bears are number 2. The Bears are favored by 1.5 with an over-under of 46.5, 83% of the spread money on the Bears. Do you like the Bears with Caleb Williams and what he's done in Chicago? Packers coming to the town without Michael Parsons. Who do you like?
I do like the Bears, all right? The Bears. I do. I can't believe I'm saying it. But yeah, one, I just think that, like you expect, 8 o'clock Saturday night, that stadium's going to be shaking. They're going to be like, holy crap, we haven't been good like this in quite some time with a quarterback that can make magic happen. Our offense is fun to watch. Everything from that standpoint lends me to believe that place is going to be a tough place to play on a Saturday night. And then I think on top of that, hey, the Michael Parsons thing, of course, is a huge deal. In game planning and the clock in the head by the quarterback and all of that, he was the greatest chess piece that you had to worry about in every passing situation and how to block Micah Parsons. Right? When the last time they played, the Bears offense, their drop back pass game was not very good. It did not lend very many plays or very many successful things for their offense. I think that'll be different this time around. I think last week was one of the best games, if not the best game I saw Caleb Williams have in the pocket. I think that's continuing to be stressed there in Chicago, and it's starting to look like he's getting it. And if he gets it, it's like, watch out for Chicago, because then we know they can run the ball just about on anybody. And their run game and how they marry it with the play action, the bootleg, is a great stress on the Green Bay Packers. Packers don't like to play man-to-man a whole lot, and I think that'll lend, if Caleb now feeling a little more comfortable without Micah, to some big plays. And what I worry about with Green Bay is, it's like you heard me say earlier today. Green Bay has these moments. I thought maybe they were done. I thought because we had 2 good games in a row leading up to Denver where I went, all right, they got it going now. Here we go. The Bears, they played good. The Lions, they played good. But the Broncos game, again, it was the same old Packers. We have a good quarter and a half, and then we disappear for the rest of the game. And the passing game disappears. And if we can't make a big pass down the field, all of a sudden we can't do anything. And that's what I worry about. And I think the Bears, I just have more faith in Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen to make the adjustments off the matchup from 2 weeks ago a little more than I do the Packers guys right now. I'm going to go Bears 24-21.
And the Packers banged up a little offensively. Josh Jacobs
too.
didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday with knee problems that he's had for weeks now after he hit it on the turf against the Giants. It swells up. They check it out. It's fine, but it's something they're managing. Christian Watson didn't practice on Tuesday, was limited yesterday. He's got chest and shoulder injuries. So I just think that the Micah injury is a lot to overcome. They're on the road again, short week. I think the Bears pull this one off 24-20 and put the Packers in a position where they're going to be – we almost had a bingo, bango, bongo. But it's going to put the Packers in a position where they're scrambling for a wild card berth, and the Bears are going to be forcing someone to come to Soldier Field in January for a wild card game, and then maybe, depending upon how it all shakes out, a divisional game after that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And we've talked about this where in the NFC this year, it feels like a team that could play in the NFC Championship or maybe go to the Super Bowl and might not be in the playoffs. And, yeah, Green Bay loses this one. You start to wonder if they're one of those teams that ends up on the outside looking in.
I think the loser of this game and the Lions become the two teams that one of them isn't going to have a seat.
Yeah, I hear you. And then this is where I look at the Packers and go, hey, that early season, blowing the game against the Browns, blowing a game at home against the Carolina Panthers. Here you are now, blowing a 9-point lead last week against the Broncos. And now all of a sudden you look up and go, oh my gosh, we got 3 games left against 3 pretty good teams, and we're going to be fighting for our life to get in the playoffs. Crazy. It really is.
They had those 2 straight home games where they lost to the Panthers and then the Eagles on the Monday night. They scored a total of 20 points in 2 games. The Eagles were there to be beaten on that Monday night, and they just couldn't muster the offensive output. All right, Buccaneers and Panthers, both 7-7, tied atop the NFC South. Tampa Bay road favorites by 3 points. We've agreed on the winner of every Panthers game this year, but, we haven't been right. We just haven't disagreed on a Panthers game. So this is the week. Will we disagree? Do you think the Panthers? Bryce Young is 0-4 against the Bucs. Will the Panthers pull this off, or do the Bucs find a way to reverse the ugliness that you witnessed personally in the fourth quarter against the Falcons?
Well, the Panthers are and Bryce Young are 0-4 against the Bucs because of the thing we've always kind of talked about, right? If the Panthers can't run the ball, it's very few and far between where the pass game and Bryce Young can carry the team to win. I mean, we're talking about 1 or 2 games in his whole career where that's maybe happened. But this is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that can't stop anything, really. They can't stop anything. They can't stop the run, the pass, nothing. Their defense is horrible. It's not a playoff defense. I mean, that's why they are where they are. And we talked about, for weeks going, this is why Tampa Bay needs to be healthy on the offensive side of the ball, because they gotta win shootouts. That's what they have to do. And they got that opportunity for sure. But this is biggest game in Carolina in quite some time. Biggest game certainly of the Dave Canales, Bryce Young regime, coming off the ugly loss, right? But I go back to the Buccaneers defense is bad at all 3 levels. I just don't have a lot of faith in that. I think the Panthers will be able to move the ball in every way they want to, right? And they've got something going with this Jalen Coker on the other side of Teteroa McMillan, which has been really impressive, right? I think the Bucs will move the ball too. But on top of that, I'll say I don't think Baker's clicking on all cylinders throwing the football right now and making every play that's there to be had. He's making a lot, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's playing his absolute best. With all that, yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers and the bigness of the moment, home game, their defense being a little bit better, 27-24 Panthers.
All right, good. I got a chance to carve into the lead if the Bucs respond the way that I think they will. We saw Todd Bowles, who projects one image, and we know that there's a fire raging that only emerges at certain times. Like when your team blows a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter,
right.
You go into the locker room and you chew them out, and you're still pissed when you go to the podium, and there were 10 beepable words in a 30-second soundbite from Todd Bowles. He said yesterday they got the message, and I think if they just play to their potential, they are good enough to win. Baker Mayfield's been banged up. I think that's contributed to the lapses in his performance. He'll be more determined than ever. I think they're going to go in there understanding the stakes. And also, you got Todd Bowles and Dave Canales. If Canales loses, his job's not in jeopardy. If Bowles loses, this momentum is going to build for the Bucs to make a change. They need this one a little bit more. That's why I go 23-17. Buccaneers get the win. All right. Buffalo Bills, 10-4. They've been impressive in recent weeks, coming from behind, down 10 in the fourth quarter against the Bengals, down 21 early against the Patriots. They go to Cleveland, where they are 10.5-point favorites against the 3-11 Browns. Myles Garrett, 1 sack away from setting a new all-time single-season record. Josh Allen surely won't want to be the guy who takes the sack, and I doubt there's going to be a Brett Favre favor given to Myles Garrett in garbage time of this game if it comes to it. But it's a big spread, 10.5. Do the Bills cover that spread?
I think so, but a little scary, right? You always know, I always think going to Cleveland's a little scary and playing them there. It's a tough place to play. The elements of the lake and everything there, the grass field, they make it hard for explosive offensive football plays. And we know their defense is damn good. I mean, it's damn good. It definitely is. They have the type of defense that I do think Buffalo can give Buffalo issues because they have two corners on the outside where they can just go, you cover the receivers, and then we can use the other 9 guys to stop Josh Allen and James Cook in the run game. And then I think when you couple that with, I think this will be a hard game for Josh Allen to make a lot of magical plays, just like in the Houston Texans football game when they played on Thursday night a few weeks back, right? With those two edge guys and what they can do and the speed. Same thing here with Cleveland. A lot of speed up front. I don't think Josh Allen's going to be able to extend plays and make as much magic, but I have no faith in the Browns' offense. And the Browns' run game has gone kaput. It's nowhere. So I'm going to take the Bills 20-9. Scary game, but they slowly just wear out the Cleveland Browns.
11-point margin, kind of a bingo bongo light because I got an 11-point margin too, but I got 31-20. Now, it's going to be cold, it's going to be dry, but the wind will be, based upon this forecast, it's time for the weather on the ones, by the way. It looks like it's going to be in the teens.
Woo.
With gusts possibly up toward 30.
Whoa.
But it's funny. Devin mentioned the Bills, Patriots. Remember that Monday night game when it was really windy?
Right.
And the Patriots were running the ball and the Bills were matching. And then at some point, Sean McDermott realized Josh Allen can throw in the wind.
Right.
So I have no concern.
No.
The Wyoming weather will not be an issue for Josh
Exactly.
Allen. I think they'll score some points. I think they'll roll over the Browns and they'll get to 11-4. All right, next on the docket, we have, scrolling, the Chargers at the Cowboys. A rare time that we see the Cowboys at 1 o'clock Eastern. Of course, they've fallen down to the point where, and they may be eliminated by the time this game starts. If the Eagles win, they will be eliminated. The Chargers are 10-4. Cowboys 6-7-1. Dallas is favored by 2.5. Favored by 2. And look, some would say that's a trap. But I think it's a reflection of the fact that even though the Chargers are winning,
Yes, right.
it's not pretty.
It's work, right.
It's not dominant.
Right.
And and it could easily go sideways for them against the Dallas Cowboys. Who do you like?
Yeah, and you know, but the one thing I'll say is I feel like they take the right approach in every football game. They know who they are, and then the coaches coach around that. And then you got a quarterback that we know can hang in there, and he's getting his ass beat on a weekly basis, and he still makes a few plays every game where the stats don't really tell you the whole story about what the quarterback did for the football team. We know Dallas's offense is dangerous. You know my thoughts on the Chargers, though, right? Dallas can throw the ball, but I haven't really seen anybody that can just say, hey, I'm going to drop back and throw the ball all over the Chargers defense. That just doesn't happen, right? So that's where, even though with this talent the Cowboys have, I don't know if I think their talent with their scheme itself is creative enough for me to go, oh, they'll have their way against this Charger secondary and defense. Now, the one thing I'll say where I worry about it a little bit, hey, is if they can run the ball and show a little balance and then maybe make the Chargers change how they're playing a little bit, that could be scary, right? But Dallas is a little all over running the football. The other thing that scares me a little for the Chargers, because I'm going to take them to win this game, is just that I do worry that they play pass coverage and Dak Prescott has 9 hours to throw the football because this Dallas Cowboys offensive line can really protect. That's what I do worry about. But there's still, with all these things, right, the Cowboys defense still stinks, and even though this isn't an awesome offense by the Chargers, it's good enough that it can move the ball on the Dallas defense. And I'm going to take that and that they win a tough, gritty football game just like we've seen them do, 24-20 Chargers on the road. Bingo. Bango.
Bango.
Bongo.
Bongo. 24-20. Hey, look at what the Cowboys did last week against the Vikings when they were still playing for something, when the window was still kind of open for them to make their way to the top of the NFC East. And they ultimately failed down the stretch. The Chargers are better than the Vikings. The Chargers have Justin Herbert. And that Cowboys defense is suspect. And, you know, for every team, once they get eliminated, what are they going to be? How are they going to react? And it's a wild card. They could say, hey, we're going to go out and play hard, or they could just kind of go into a shell. And Matt Eberflus's job is on the line. Jerry Jones basically said that. We're going to see what happens these next 3 weeks. The Chargers trying to get into the playoffs. The Cowboys playing for next year. I think that's enough, and the Cowboys will fall 24-20. All right, Bengals at the Dolphins. This was originally the Sunday night game. Both teams have been eliminated. The Bengals are 4-10. Joe Burrow, another week of some comments that make people wonder about the future. The future is now for the Dolphins. Tua has been benched. Quinn Ewers, horns up, will be starting. Will it be horns down? Will it be fins down in Miami, where the Bengals are favored by 4.5 with an over-under of 47.5?
Well, I think the game's going to be close. I will say that right off the bat. And I think within that, right, like the Dolphins don't have to change a whole lot of what they do. They've been a run-the-ball defensive football team, throw short passes that are high percentage and keep the ball moving that way. Now, the problem with them is even though these plays were high percentage a lot of the times, Tua was not hitting them. So that's where ultimately they were like, okay, damn, we're constructing the offense to make it as easy as possible for him, and he still can't do it. So let's just bench him. Ewers is going to open up the field a little bit. He definitely will be able to push the ball down the field better than Tua. That's going to be the interesting thing. But all in all, this late in the year, making your first start and doing all that, I know the Bengals defense isn't very good, but it's hard just to come in, especially as a rookie, and think you're just going to go bing, bang, boom, and move the ball down the field all the time. I think they hang around. That Dolphins defense, I think it's a pain in the ass, but I'm still going to take Joe Burrow and the Bengals on the road 21-17. Needle thread.
Another opportunity to carve into the lead. I can't believe it. You had no faith in the Buccaneers. You have no faith in the Texas guy. What's wrong with you? You show no loyalty whatsoever to your past connections.
My loyalty is to me being right on these picks, okay?
Now, I don't know what's going to happen in this game. The only thing I know about this game is there will not be snow on the seats. That's all I know.
Right.
Beyond that, I have no idea what's going to happen. But all we can do is kind of base our opinions on what we've seen. And the Bengals were a no-show last weekend. And I feel like it's just kind of falling apart. And these midweek cryptic messages from Joe Burrow aren't helping. I thought they'd win last week in part because, hey, Joe's upset. We got to go out there and play hard. We got to make Joe happy again. Hell, they all stayed home. And now he's talking about a future that may include him not playing for the Bengals. And you got Zach Taylor, who's kind of embattled, and who knows if he's on the hot seat, because the real question is, will he be owed a buyout? If he's owed a buyout, he's not on the hot seat, because they could use that money to not clean the snow off of the seats. So this is pasta and meatballs, South Florida style. I think Quinn Ewers is going to give him a spark, and I think Quinn Ewers is going to erase from the record books the fact that Christopher David Simms is the last Texas quarterback to win his first start when you did it week 5 of 2004. Strike him from the record book and put Quinn Ewers in there. Horns up, fins up, 24-20.
I like it. Okay, that was a good ending by you, though, so I'll give you that for sure. Way to go.
Wait, did I pick 24-20? Is that 2 in a row? No, I did 27-23.
Okay.
27-23. Same idea, but 27-23. 24-20 was the score
from
the
the Chargers-Cowboy game, right?
That's what happens when they're all stacked together and the print is small and my eyes are not what they used to be. Okay, Jets at the Saints, another meaningless game that we'll try to make meaningful by having some fun picking the winner. Tyler Shuck has been looking pretty good. They think they got something there. Within the organization, the comparisons are being made to what the Lions initially went through under Dan Campbell, and that it all turned at some point. They think they're in the process of it turning. Now, it took a year and a half for it to turn for the Lions, but they feel like it's turning. They've won 2 games in a row. Here we go. The Jets, who the hell knows what they have. Brady Cook is the quarterback again, undrafted rookie. You've got Steve Wilks fired this week. Defensive coordinator fired by the defensive head coach. Weird vibe from the Jets. Can the Saints get to 3 in a row? They're favored by 4.5 with an over-under of 40.5. I have not yet picked the Saints to win a game all year long.
Well, I don't think you're totally crazy, so this will be the one you pick them for sure. I'm certainly picking them. I'm not taking the Jets, not with Brady Cook at the helm and all the things you just mentioned. It kind of seems like it's checkmate for this year for the Jets, and let's move on. New Orleans, I know they're in a position where they could say checkmate, but it's a little different. It's a little different when you're still developing a young quarterback and you want to make him good for next year. Kind of tends to keep the coaches with the hot poker on everybody. Like, hey, we got to keep going. Our quarterback, it's all for next year. We got to get better. We got to get him better. Hey, and the team buys into, hey, young quarterback's getting good. This is exciting to be a part of. So, yeah, from all that, I'm taking the Saints. Saints defense been a little bit of a pain in the ass. They stay patient with the run, and Shuck makes some good plays and throws every football game. My score is Saints 23-13.
27-17, another bingo bango light. Same margin, just different scores for each team. 27-17. And let me ask you this, because I made the comment earlier in the week on PFT Live that I think there's a chance Aaron Glenn is going to be one and done. And I saw some people lose their minds over that. Is it crazy to think there's a chance he's going to be one and done?
I don't think it's crazy to think that, no. I mean, in the current landscape of the NFL, and then, of course, the way the year has gone for them, a defensive head coach, and now we fired the defensive coordinator, defensive head coach, and we're going to set the record for the least amount of turnovers caused in the history of the NFL. Defensive head coach who stuck with quarterback who couldn't throw the ball the whole year, way too long, right? All of that, it's not great optics. I would be surprised if it happened. You're not crazy to bring that up, though. Not at all.
And look, the one thing we don't know, who was pushing for Justin Fields as the starter and to give him $30 million fully guaranteed. If that's an Aaron Glenn decision, that doesn't help either.
Right.
Okay, a game that started the season last year. They're back.
It's our bowl,
again,
baby.
There was a stretch like 20 years ago where the Vikings and Giants played every single year. This year it means absolutely nothing. The Vikings are 6-8. They're playing for pride. The Giants are 2-12. I don't know what they're playing for. The Vikings are favored by 3 on the road, 43.5 over/under. Giants fans openly rooting to lose to improve the draft position. Who do you like?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Florio and Simms Bowl. It's the Vikings versus the G-men. But the G-men are cooked. They're cooked. It's over, right? Just the way it's looked on the field the last few weeks, like they're wobbly on the ropes and just waiting for the year to end. I'll go back to what I just said a minute ago. Minnesota's playing for something for next year. They're not. Kevin O'Connell is not going to take the foot off the gas pedal right now. They're playing to build with their coach for next year, and the motivation and to make J.J. McCarthy look good. So not only is he personally motivated, they want to answer this question that he's the starter, that they don't have to worry about trying to find somebody this offseason. So that's where, again, the hot poker is going to be on Minnesota. And then Minnesota's defense, we know, hasn't given up and done anything there. McCarthy feels like he's starting to feel it a little, got a mojo going. He's hot. And Flores D will be just too much for the Giants. I'm going Vikings 27-17.
28-13 Vikings. I should have picked the Giants just to turn the whole thing on its head.
Go ahead if you want to. I'll let you do.
And you're the one going, Baroo. No. I agree with your assessment of the Giants. It is just funny. Another team that you have ties to, you are picking against them this week.
Nobody will accuse me of bias. That's
Dolphins
for sure.
Through Quinn Ewers, and now the Giants. I agree with you. I agree with you that the Vikings, they're trying to lay the foundation for next year. And they want to be one of these teams that finish strong and carries it in to 2026, even though the team will be very different. At some of the key positions, it won't be. This one is just weird to see.
Oh, my God.
The Chiefs at the Titans. Chiefs are 6-8 and eliminated. Titans are 2-12 and eliminated. The Chiefs are still favored by 3, but the line was 11.5 before Patrick Mahomes suffered the torn ACL. Gardner Minshew, who, and look, you get told in the blink of an eye, go out and play. It didn't look good when he went out and played. The bettors don't believe in Minshew. Do you believe this is an opportunity for the Tennessee Titans to get themselves a win as they close out Cam Ward's rookie season?
I do think it is. I don't have the guts to pick it. All right, I don't. I'm going to take the Chiefs 16-10. But I wrote here in my notes, I wouldn't be shocked if it's the other way around. I would not. One, The Kansas City Chiefs, they will play some aggressive man-to-man coverage, and Cam Ward's got no fear. He'll fire, right? He's going to fire the ball down the field. Tony Pollard can break some runs. This is a Chiefs team that can't run the ball all that good. Mahomes has been filling or covering a lot of holes for their football team. So now you get into one-dimensional. We're just going to throw the ball with Gardner Minshew. I'm going to take the Chiefs 16-10. This won't be a best bet, and I will not be shocked if the Titans end up winning this football game. But I'll take the Chiefs and their culture in this one.
This one is an interesting psychological exercise because we've never seen this before, where the Chiefs are playing a game that means nothing. In the Andy Reid era, they have never played a game when they were eliminated from playoff contention. The last time they played a game where they weren't alive for the postseason was Week 17 of 2012 with Romeo Crennel before they quickly pivoted to Andy Reid after he left Philadelphia. So we don't know how they're going to respond. And when you consider the cumulative physical, emotional, and mental toll of playing into February for 3 straight years, I think when the balloon finally pops, it just kind of goes everywhere. And they're just get this season over with.
Yeah.
It's done. And I think that opens the door for the Titans to do something that will help them beat, because it's the same uniforms. Even though the players are different, we have a chance to beat the Chiefs. And we can use that as kind of a weird little measuring stick. So what's the score? Did I already say my score? Here it is. I have, searching, activating. Titans 20-17.
Oh,
so
yeah. I hear you.
That's 3.
Yeah.
I got a chance to have you tied by 4 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, and I was so close to taking the Rams
6.
in that first game, too, that we would have had 4. But, yeah, I look at it more like I have a chance to extend my lead. Screw you, Florio.
All right, we're going to take a break. The late afternoon Sunday games when Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM Joint Mega Picks podcast continues right after this. PFTPM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned, Week 16 Joint Mega Picks podcast. Here we go into the late afternoon action. A lot of meaningless games this week. There was only one last week. There's too many to count this week.
That's good I'll take it.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
I like it at Kirk Cousins. Oh, Kirk Cousins was looking good last Thursday night in Tampa Bay. Had a big game, 373 passing yards. He owns the Buccaneers, 3-0 against them since he became the Falcons starter. They take on the Cardinals at 3-11. Atlanta favored by 3 on the road. 48.5 over-under. You are 13-1 in picking the winner of Arizona games, which means more often than not you pick the other team.
Right.
You got to scout. You got to advance scout the Falcons last week at the Bucs game.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Falcons?
Yeah, for this game I do. I believe in them when they play teams like Arizona, who it's all over the place. And especially with the way their defenses look lately, it just feels like, Arizona is one of those few teams where it's like, hey, just stop the count. We'd like the year to be over. We want to move on with life. They feel that way. Atlanta does not feel that way. Atlanta feels like Raheem Morris is still kind of coaching for maybe to keep his ass off the hot seat to a degree, right? They have figured something out here with throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts. I think Kirk Cousins is auditioning himself to maybe play somewhere else or get one more shot. Bijan Robinson's running the ball pretty well. Yeah, I'm going to take Atlanta against a beaten down Arizona Cardinal team that I have no faith in at all right now. My score is 27-21 Atlanta Falcons.
All right, so I will have you tied straight up by 4 o'clock Eastern, and I will take a lead because this is a combination of reasoned thought and pasta in meatballs. Look, how many times this year have we seen the Falcons have a big win and shit the bed the next week? Yeah. I think every time they've had a signature win, primetime win, they beat the Vikings, they shit the bed next week. They beat the Bills, they shit the bed next week. Now they beat the Bucs, and it's time to shit the bed
but
yet
so,
again.
Let me ask you, how do you balance that with the team that's shit the bed for like 12 out of the last 13 weeks?
Hey, sooner or later you run out of shit.
Okay. Stomach's empty, ready to go.
Jonathan Gannon and Monty Austin Fort, they're getting closer and closer to whatever Michael Bidwell, the owner of the team, is going to decide to do. Gannon was complaining this week about the tackling rules. I don't know if that's a good look because they're the same for everyone.
Exactly.
The practice rules that affect tackling. I just feel like it's time for the Cardinals to get one. They've lost 8 in a row. It's just time. And I think the Falcons will be susceptible because we've seen it play out. We've seen the pattern. For whatever reason, they have a letdown after they have one of these big wins. 24-21, Arizona Cardinals. Let's have some fun. Let's swing for the fences. Okay, big game in Denver. But the NFL didn't get the memo. This is tucked into the 4:05 regional window for some reason. Jaguars, Broncos, when the NFL flexed Patriots, Ravens to Sunday night, I got a bunch of emails. Why didn't they flex Jaguars, Broncos? I said, hey, not my department. NFL decision, but it's a big game. Huge ramifications. The Jaguars are 10-4. The Broncos have won 11 in a row. They're trying to get the 1 seed. The Broncos are favored by 3 with an over-under of 47.5. Clinching scenarios for both teams. 89% of the spread money is on the Broncos. Who do you have?
You know, I'm feeling the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. I am a little bit. Right, and I'm going to play a little of the angle of, like, the Denver Broncos take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit about feeling good. We beat the Broncos at home, right? Now, I mean, I'm not going to make this a best bet. This is a coin toss football game, field goal type football game. But the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, right, the way their offense is playing right now, I think they can stress Denver's defense out a little bit. The 3 receivers that Jacksonville has, the tight end, I mean, it's a pretty good group when you start to break it down. Brian Thomas Jr. is starting to show up on a weekly basis right now again with big plays like we saw last year. Jacoby Myers has really been awesome for them. The run game's been going. So I don't think they're going to be tricked or overwhelmed by that Denver defense, and I think people are sleeping on this Jags defense as of late. I do. Jacksonville, first off, has big people up front. They got one of the better defensive end duos in football, as you know. Eric Armstead's a D-tackle. Their other D-tackle run stopper, Devon Hamilton, is a absolute, plugger, mosh pit type of guy. I think this is like they make a statement in the NFL in this football game and put everybody on notice to a degree. All right, I'm going to take the Jaguars 27-24 on a shocking road upset. Well, another game, another disagreement. I thought through everything that you said. Yeah. But, 3 straight games without Trevor Lawrence doing something dumb, 3 straight games without a turnover, 3 straight games where the Jaguars have looked good. They got to go to altitude, and this is a far different team than the Jets team they dismantled last week. And, hey, I think the Jaguars are going to be a force. Yeah. And this will be good for them, right. A good preview for when maybe they have to go back to Denver in the playoffs, and maybe they'll beat them in the playoffs. For now, though, the Broncos just have it rolling, and I think the Broncos keep it rolling with a 27-23 victory. Bo Nix has been improving, and Sean Payton is not going to allow his team to have a letdown. The Jaguars are too good. If the Jaguars were 4-10 and not 10-4, I'd be more concerned about a letdown. This is an eyes wide open, be ready, here comes an elite team, and Payton will have them ready to go, I believe. Okay, next up. The Steelers at the Lions. Both teams 8-6. The Lions are favored by 7 with an over-under of 52.5. That is the highest of the week. By the way, Jerome Bettis is from Detroit. Who do you like? You're funny. I'm going to I like Detroit. I don't really have a ton of faith still in this Steelers defense. I'm not going to the Detroit offense is still one of the best in football. They got too many things that they can do to Pittsburgh to put them in uncomfortable positions. And we know Pittsburgh's not great at stopping the run. That's scary against Detroit. Pittsburgh's not great at stopping the pass. That's scary against Detroit. So I just don't imagine Pittsburgh's defense slowing down the Lions a whole lot. And even though the Lions' defense is nothing real special, they don't give you a lot of easy. And I just have a hard time thinking dink and dunk and dink and dunk and all this type of stuff is going to work, right? Yeah, he might hit a few shots, back shoulders, go route maybe to DK Metcalf, but I think when it's all said and done, there won't be enough offense from the Pittsburgh Steelers on that side of the ball. I'm taking the Lions 34-21. Same
approach. 29-21 is the score I have. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to go off. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams will have big games. The Steelers' defense is not going to be able to handle, I believe, this Lions offense. A far cry from what they dealt with on Monday night against the Miami Dolphins. And look, here's the reality. They can still lose the next 2 games and be playing for the AFC North title come Week 18. They know that. They know it's going to come down to the Ravens at the Steelers Week 18. And the Lions, the Lions are, first of all, they haven't lost back-to-back games in 3 years. And it's like it's some sort of a record to avoid a 2-game losing streak. When everything lines up, the Lions are hard to beat, and I think everything is going to line up for them on Sunday. All right, the last game of the Sunday afternoon window, last and definitely least, the Las Vegas Raiders. Traveling to Houston to take on the Texans, where the Texans are favored by 14.5. That is no surprise. I'm surprised it's not more. Over-under of 37.5. 88% of the spread money is on Las Vegas, and I'm 11-3 against the spread in Texans games this year. So it's a big spread. It really is. I am surprised it's not higher. It's still a big spread. Are the Texans good enough to cover it as they go for win number 7 in a row?
Well, I think so. You know my saying, the Texans defense is good enough to maybe win the game by itself. This literally might be a week where you can go, hey, C.J. Stroud, just kneel on the ball and go sit over there. We'll win it. Just take a break. Don't worry. No, it's the Raiders. They won't be able to do anything. I just have a hard time thinking the Raiders are going to do anything on offense. That's the biggest thing. What do they look at against this team? The Houston smothers everything. I would bet you Houston defense is pissed off, too, because of last week they lit up some cheap yards late in the football game with the Arizona Cardinals. It'll sit the wrong way with that crew. They're that crazy out there. So I look at that, and then I go, C.J. Stroud in this offense, not getting a lot of attention, but it's starting to get going a little bit here. It is. And I think that Houston can go to the Super Bowl. I'm taking Houston. I got it 27-9. Houston butt whooping.
34-20 for me, which actually gives the Raiders the cover. I just feel like it's another kind of a little mini letdown by the Texans. The Raiders are so bad right now. And I'd like to think if the Raiders are ever going to respond, they'll respond after losing 31-0 and gaining 75 yards, something they haven't done as a franchise since 1961. All the talk this week about Pete Carroll. Geno Smith is on track to be back. I think that was a factor last week. I think they'll keep it within the margin that Vegas has established, but they still are going to pick up loss number 13 and fall to 2-13. Primetime games, including Patriots-Ravens on Sunday Night Football. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM Joint Mega Picks Podcast.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code CORNERBACK when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And as always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you can afford to lose, because if you listen to me, especially last week, you will. Oh, you will. All right, Sunday Night Football. Thank you, NFL, for exercising your flex prerogative. Patriots at Ravens. The Patriots 11-3, coming off of that blown 21-0 lead over the Bills, and now things are a little tighter. The 1 seed is going to be harder to achieve. The Ravens chasing the Steelers with 3 games to go at 7-7. They had the 24-0 blowout shutout of the Bengals last week. Baltimore's a 3-point favorite with a 48.5 over-under. You have picked New England straight up and against the spread in all but one game.
Yeah.
Are you on New England again?
I am on New England again. I'm still a believer in the New England Patriots, right? They had a few issues last week. I talked about it on my podcast. They really got away from the run game in the second half of the game. It's almost like last week against Buffalo. They went into the preconceived, we're going to run the ball in the first half, and then we're going to come out in the second half and throw the ball because they're going to overplay the run. And that didn't happen. And it's like, wait, the running game, let's work it until proven otherwise. So they messed up some things there, certainly. Drake May did not play his best game. He was errant with a few throws throughout. So there was those issues there. I'm going to take that they bounced back. And, I know Baltimore looked better last week, but it still wasn't like where I'm just going to go, oh, yeah, they're going to beat one of the better teams in the AFC now. No, I'm not. I mean, again, one was a pick-6 touchdown. Joe Burrow made a ton of mistakes in the football game that set up Baltimore the right way. I have a hard time thinking Derrick Henry's going to go off in the run game like James Cook did. This Ravens offensive line's not like Buffalo. Lamar, yes, dangerous, right? But coming off a week where they played Josh Allen, I think they'll refine the rules and how to contain the quarterback a little bit. And, yeah, I just have the right faith in Josh McDaniels and Drake May that they'll find enough plays on the offense. I'm going to go Patriots 24-20.
You know, it's funny. Mike Vrabel seemed to be very kind of low-key and chill when he was on radio the day after they lost to the Bills. I suspect he hasn't been that charitable with his players. They blew a golden opportunity. He will be all over them not to let one loss turn into two losses. The Ravens, even though 24-0 was the final score, it felt like it was hard work for them to move the ball.
That's right.
And Lamar is looking more like Lamar, but he missed practice Wednesday with an illness. And there's just kind of a weird vibe with the Ravens right now. They lost at home to the Steelers the last time around. They did take care of business against the Bengals, but I feel like the Patriots are going to be back and get on the right track. 27-23 Patriots, that's my pick. Okay, Monday Night Football. Ooh, this would be a good one. 49ers at the Colts. Phillip Rivers, game number 2. 49ers, again, especially if the Seahawks win. 49ers in great position to try to be the disruptor and take over the NFC West crown and maybe the number 1 seed. Do you like the 49ers on the road? They are favored by 6.5 with an over-under of 46.5.
Yeah, I do like the 49ers, 100%. First off, again, they're going to watch the film of last week. I don't think the Colts can live on just going, hey, we're going to throw the ball 4 yards every play. That's hard to win in the NFL. We talked about that all day with Tua, and that's why they benched him. It's hard to do that. And so now the 49ers got to watch that. They're going to take away some of those completions that Phillip Rivers got last week. They're not going to let him do some of that stuff. Yeah, I got to see it to believe it that Phillip Rivers can throw the ball down the field and make plays that way first. And then the other side of the ball is even though the Colts defense played damn good, the 49ers offense has got it going right now. I mean, there's no denying that. They're running the ball well. Purdy's playing well. They got the receivers going. Kittle's going. So with all of that, and then the fact that the Colts play so much zone defense, when you play zone against Shanahan, he's just too good at manipulating certain people in a zone area and making him move or spreading out the zone and finding somebody to sit in it. I'm going to go 49ers 28-13 on the road.
27-20 49ers for me, so we both have the 49ers and the cover, and the Colts will be, I don't know that they'll be mathematically eliminated, but they're getting closer and closer to it. They started 7-1, and it has all fallen apart. But it was an admirable showing last week. And it was also, I saw this on Twitter yesterday, it was the biggest Indianapolis audience for a Colts game on CBS in 5 years.
That's amazing.
So the Phillip Rivers thing is intriguing, and I think the rating will be higher Monday night because of it, because we get a chance to watch this guy in primetime, see how he really looks, and see if he can make it happen for the Colts. I don't think he ultimately will, but it should be fun to watch. All right, we break, and when we return, best bets and Folsom Prison Blues picks. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, Joint Mega Picks podcast. Back right after this. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, Joint Mega Picks podcast, and here we go. Best bets. We each pick 3. Somehow I'm leading in the competition, even though I still don't care about it. Chris is going to try to catch me. We each have our selections. You are up.
Well, I was way behind, and then I caught you, and now I'm losing again. All right, so the first one is the Lions. 7 points, not enough. They're going to beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense not good. I like the Lions to cover the 7 points.
Eagles giving the Commanders 6.5. I think the Eagles are in the process of flourishing again. They win the division. It's a T-shirt and hat day for the Eagles at Northwest Field or whatever they call that place now. What do you got next?
Okay, my next one, I'm riding the Houston Texans. I don't give a damn about the 14.5 points. I don't. I just, Houston's hot. The Raiders are checkmate. I mean, I got them winning 27-9. I'm probably nice in giving the Raiders that many points. I like the Texans to cover the 14.5.
I had yet to pick the Saints to win this season.
Whoa.
In order to make amends, I have not only picked them to win, but I will pick them to beat the woeful Jets by at least 4.5 points. That's my second one.
Wow, that's a good one there. All right, I'm stuck a little between taking the Vikings or taking the Panthers, all right? And oddly enough, I feel like right now I know more what to expect from the Vikings, so I'm going to take the Vikings. Yeah, I know they're favored by 3.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Wow.
They're favored by 3. They're playing for something. They're playing to build their rookie quarterback and still make him look good and have him have confidence in the next year. And Brian Flores' defense, I think it'll just be too much for the Giants on that side of the ball. I'm going to take the Vikings.
You've spent plenty of time in recent weeks talking up Mike McDaniel and his strengths as the Dolphins head coach. This is his handpicked guy coming in to play quarterback, and they are 4.5-point home underdogs against a team that was shut out last week and that seems to be deflated. I like the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins plus 4.5 as my third one. All right, is there any... Do we,
I mean, you said it right. It's just whoever's playing the Raiders.
Texans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except next week when they play the Giants.
You're right. Then we have to erase that thought. You'd probably still be safe,
Yeah.
but regardless,
Texans for both of us.
Texans all the way in this one. 5 disagreements. I hope you suck at all 5, all right? Yeah. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Enjoy the
Lots
games.
of football. Yo. Thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.